Hello, my dear listeners. My name is Kishore Ganesh, and in what I believe to be the 50th episode of the Vocal About Visuals podcast, I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on one of the greatest films of all time, Rashomon, made by the immortal Akira Kurosawa, which I could watch thanks to the generosity of the Japan Foundation as part of the Japanese Film Festival Online 2022. And without any further ado, let's head straight into the episode. There are critics, film scholars and students, and movie enthusiasts all over the world who have waxed eloquent about Rashomon for decades now. And what I'm going to be doing here is just expressing my thoughts on this great work of art and not in any way attempting to provide a critique of this epic work. I personally have not been influenced by any other review, discourse or essays on the film. So by the end of it, you will hear the thoughts that got conjured up in my mind purely because of what I had witnessed. The entire film is a discussion about what truth is and how humans, in many situations in our lives, seem to have a very uneasy relationship with it, to the point that we endeavor to constantly fool everyone around us and sometimes ourselves as well into not acknowledging this fact. The setting of the film is the murder trial of a feared bandit who has murdered a decent man who was traveling through the forest with his petite, demure and beautiful wife. As I mentioned, the objective of this movie is to explore the idea of truth, which one finds out very early on in the film is not the same as a confession or eyewitness testimonies. The screenplay is written in an extremely unique manner, so unique to the point that it has birthed a whole new term for such a storytelling method called the Rashomon effect. The entirety of the film is just one sequence of events retold multiple times by multiple people, the only difference being the context for each retelling is set by different individuals each time. In this sense, this structure is similar to time loop films, which of course came way later in the future. Thanks to the changes in each retelling, the audience gets hooked more and more into the narrative, not just because of the brilliance of the making and the excellence of the performances, but by the need to know what exactly is the truth. I hope that, like me, people would be tempted to choose sides, that is, what they think is the accurate portrayal of truth, which in turn is informed by our own cultural and social influences, our values, and our implicit biases. So whether you like it or not, Rashomon will definitely make you realize aspects of yourself that you would have otherwise not normally or actively paid attention to. And how cool is that the simple act of watching a movie can teach us things about ourselves, our mental makeup, our values and our biases, and if one feels the need, one can even work on changing or growing whatever these quote-unquote discoveries are. And imagine how cool should a movie be for it to be able to do all of this. The other aspect of this film that I found interesting was how it basically destroys patriarchy and exposes the frailty and weak nature of those who put on a show of macho-ness and bravado. You all know the guys I'm talking about. In the final reveal of the actual/objective truth, Akira cuts ruthlessly and cuts deep at all the BS in the form of pseudo-honor, valor, and myths of supposed skills possessed by these people that accompanies them. He shows the victimization of women at the hands of patriarchy and the choices they make in the desperation to escape their plight. Akira also shows us that when death comes calling, the true nature of all humans gets revealed, and behind all the layers of toxic masculinity are weak, cowardly men using patriarchy, honor, societal structure, and culture to stay in control. And because this movie primarily is an exploration of the concept of truth and death is the ultimate truth, this ending or resolution fits the rest of the film as a glove would fit a hand. Yet another thing Kurosawa does is not to allow the weakness of humans to deny them of their beauty and strengths. Throughout the movie, we see and hear how humans are liars, are dishonorable, cowardly, and evil. And yet, right at the end, he places a sequence which showcases that despite all of this, there is always room for us to grow, to aspire to be better versions of ourselves, and most importantly, that we should always remember to not use the presence of evil as a justification to be evil ourselves or to lose hope in humanity. And I think this is also truthful. And finally, to deliver a movie of such high quality, you need the cast to be at the top of their game, and man, are they here. There are only a handful of cast members in the entire movie, and they all delivered brilliant performances. A bit theatrical and melodramatic, but hey, these performances are a product of their times. On the whole, the writing, the direction, and the acting all come together to create one of the greatest works of all time, which will undoubtedly be immortal in the worlds of film aficionados, filmmakers, and art appreciators. Rashomon is something that I would recommend people to watch, and even if it is not your cup of tea, it is bound to leave some impression or the other on you. Thank you to the Japan Foundation for making it possible for me to watch this great film. Once again, my name is Kishore Ganesh. This is the Vocal About Visuals podcast, and as always, thank you, my dear listeners, for your time and for listening to me for the past 50 episodes. I am truly grateful.